Good evening and welcome to my podcast. This is going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel. This is kind of going to be a little bit of a life update like all my other videos have been. I know the last time you saw me, I was in Tennessee. I posted a vlog going to Tennessee and now it's been a few months. I apologize for being MIA. I just kind of have let life happen and I've kind of been dealing with work and family and things like that. Other than that, life has been pretty good. I've been really involved with my church, and we're getting ready to do life groups, and so I'm kind of looking forward to spending time with my family and my friends at church and getting more involved in that. And I apologize if the audio quality is not the greatest. If you're wearing headphones, you probably will want to turn it down. I'm trying to play around with this new equipment that I have. I also don't have my current headphones that I usually use because I don't have the right cable to hook up to my soundboard, but it's a work in progress. I don't really want to do a video with this audio. I'm just going to kind of record whatever comes to mind. I've been meaning to post another video on my YouTube channel recently. I tried to do one not too long ago in my car, and it ended up being 20 minutes of no audio whatsoever. And I don't know why, but my phone did not capture any audio. It was just all video. So that was kind of a bust. Um, but here lately, I've been kind of just spending time with myself. I've been just kind of doing my own thing, still enjoying the single life. We just had Valentine's Day recently, and I kind of just took that whole week and just did stuff for myself, and I dated myself. I noticed online that some of the theaters that were not really close to me were doing Twilight movie marathons, and they were going to do a movie from the series every day until the whole series completed, and I didn't find one close by, obviously. So, what I decided to do was watch the movies myself at my house every night. And you guys that know me well know I'm a very big twihard. I was very big into the craze. Um, and this time around was very weird for me, like rewatching these. I seem to get a little bit more emotional than I used to get when I watch these. I actually started to cry at Bella and Edward's wedding, and if you've never experienced this saga, I recommend you get out of this podcast and watch it because I'm going to talk about spoilers. And if you're not somebody that enjoys spoilers, then click out of this right now because it's going to probably go into depth about this. But let me backtrack a little. So, for the longest time in high school, I tried to like not go with the crowd and jump on the bandwagon on a lot of the mainstream things. And at the time, this was 2008, 2009, and Twilight was beginning to be a big craze. And my best friend at the time, and this actually kind of makes me miss her. But anyway, my best friend at the time really got me into reading, and we'd been reading quite a bit throughout middle school, and it really ramped up during high school. And for the longest time, I would not read Twilight. And my friend was already reading it, and she liked it. And I heard people tell me that the second book was going to make me mad. But for the longest time, I was not going to read it. And I didn't wanna just be part of the mainstream anything, and then one day I just decided to just cave and read it, and I was hooked ever since. I couldn't even put the book down, and I just kept reading it, and I ended up reading the whole series, and then the movies came out, and we went as a group on a field trip to see that, and I remember going distinctly, and I remember seeing that movie like 3 different times. I went once with my school group, and then I went again with my best friend, and then I went again with my mom, and there's just something about that time in my life. I was 15 years old, and the movie series kind of came out from the ages of 15 to 18, and I remember the last movie being very bittersweet because it released the November of the year I graduated high school. So I had just freshly started college, and it was kind of like a year of lasts for me. And anyway, my whole point of telling you guys this is when I decided to watch the movies again for myself, to date myself for Valentine's Day, it just kind of struck a chord with me. I guess because back then I read the books and watched the movies and I was like a young teenage girl, and when you're young like that, I mean, things do strike a chord with you, but you don't really understand the magnitude of it until you get older. But since I started to watch him through the lens of a grown woman now in her 30s, I just got a little nostalgic, and it reminded me of just all the things I used to look forward to and do at that time in my life. And sometimes I wish I could go back and change some things about the decisions that I made leading up to now. I know I wouldn't have nearly the knowledge that I have now if I did that. And I don't know, I just there's something about wanting to experience all of that for the first time, and it kinda made me feel a little emotional even though I really had no reason to be emotional. I just felt really emotional this time around, especially when I watched the last movie, and I also got really emotional when, Charlie, Bella's dad, actually gets reunited with her, and he gives her a hug, and he notices that she's cold, and he also meets her daughter and thinks that is led to believe that this daughter is adopted, but then sees that the baby has her eyes. And it's just something about that that kind of really struck a chord with me in my heart. And I just felt for him. I felt very sad for him and very bittersweet for him because of what he was going through and the fact that he had to say goodbye to his daughter and watch her move on with somebody. And then the whole wedding scene and everything, got to me too, because then I had to listen to Edward's very sweet toast that he did to Bella, and he said, "No measure of time with you will be long enough, but let's start with forever." And I don't know, back when I watched him the first time as a young girl, I loved those and I cherished them in my heart, but not as much as I do now, and it made me wish that something like that was happening to me right now, and it made me wish that I felt that way about somebody. And like right now, I've actually been inspired to reread the series and I'm rereading it right now and I'm savoring every moment of it and actually picking up on details that I didn't pick up the first time I read them as a young girl. And again, it's also left me with missing my friend, my best friend, and we don't talk anymore and we lost touch a long time ago. And I don't know, I know that she no longer lives where I do, and that's about all I know. It's been kinda hard the last couple of weeks, actually, and I don't know what I'm feeling. It's kinda hard to describe. I know that most of you guys that are into Twilight would know this feeling. It's just nostalgia, it's sadness, but it's also happiness at the same time because those exist, those books and movies exist, and they happened, and you're grateful that they do, and I think that the series is completely timeless, and it's gonna live on forever, and I feel kinda sad because of how old it's getting, and, I just wish that it wasn't so old, and I also did some research on a lot of the fandom and memorabilia stuff that I have from the series, and it has shocked me, how expensive some of that stuff is now and how much money it's worth. Like, back in the day when this stuff was new, I kinda knew in the back of my mind that it might take back off and be worth some money, but I didn't realize that it would be worth quite a bit. Like, some of my pieces of jewelry that I have that they don't make anymore, people want, like, hundreds of dollars for them on eBay and various websites, and you can't even find the shirts anymore. Like, also, and I apologize in advance if this podcast is kind of all over the place. I'm just kind of rambling and getting my thoughts out there for anybody that might be interested in joining this conversation. But I apologize in advance if it's boring. But anyway, yeah, so I just doing the research and all that, I noticed how expensive some of that stuff is, and, like, I don't know if you guys who shop notice this, but, like, when you get clothes now at Box Lunch or Hot Topic, I just feel like the quality has gone downhill compared to back when Twilight was popular. Like, when I get shirts there now or sweatshirts, I notice that they fade a lot faster, and I have a couple of sweatshirts that you can't even tell they're themed sweatshirts anymore. They're almost just solid color because they've faded so much, and I only had them for, like, 2 years now at this point, and I have a Animal Crossing sweatshirt, and it's basically pretty much just a plain gray sweatshirt at this point, and I just feel like the quality has gone downhill, and so now I can kind of understand why you can't find the good shirts anymore, and a lot of the good shirts are either being kept by the owners or they're being sold for more money than what they were worth when they were at the store, and that's just so crazy to me, and it's picking back up too, like, the series is picking back up in popularity. They're also re-releasing a lot of things that, they had previously back when the series was first being launched, and, it's really inspired me lately, like, I really would like to go traveling some more, and I'd like to save some money and maybe drive out to Forks, Washington, because I've never been, and I'd love to, like, just see the world and see life outside of my 4 walls and outside of my box, and my parents aren't too thrilled about that idea. They don't like me to go places by myself because 'cause I'm a young female and I'm single, but I don't know, it's just like if I don't go now, then when? And, like, not too long ago, I watched a movie called Here, and it was about a couple and their life and, throughout the years, how they lived their life, and at one point, the wife in the movie, which ironically is the same lady that plays, Jenny in, Forrest Gump, and anyway, she ends up turning 50 years old, and she has this really sad speech before she blows out the candles on her birthday cake and says all these things that she regrets not doing, like going to law school and not traveling, and I don't wanna turn 50 and realize there are things that I wanted to do that I didn't get to do, and I know it's scary, like, part of me doesn't wanna go by myself, but, like, I'm at the age now where, like, as badly as I want a partner, I can't just wait around for one to fall out of the sky, and I don't wanna just settle for anyone because I've been there, done that, and gotten the T-shirt, and one of my friends from church basically told me that she's at the point, and I think I'm getting to this point too, where she's done waiting around for people and is just experiencing things on her own and just going and doing it. Like, for example, going to concerts, she's going by herself and she'll like go places by herself and she'll travel by herself. And I really think that's something I need to be more brave and branch out and do, even if it's a little more expensive, even if I have to do it alone. Um, it's just something that I think I'm gonna save up money for and maybe try to do this next year. And if I have someone in my life that would like to go with me, great. If not, I think I'm gonna settle for just going by myself. I want to travel. I want to make the time. Um, and sorry if you hear background noises, I'm fiddling with some cables here, but, anyway, I don't want to turn 50 and have a bunch of regrets in my life, and I'm only 31, and I know that seems like a white ways away, but really life is but a vapor, and I'm gonna blink and be that age before I know it, and I don't look forward to it. I don't wanna get old, um, I also worry about getting old before I even get a chance to have my own family, but at the same time, I don't wanna withdraw or hold myself back from a really good life and making risks or taking risks and making, interesting decisions. I don't wanna hold myself back from that just because I don't have that solid friend that is, loyal enough that I could trust to go with me on trips like that, or I don't have that solid boyfriend that I know isn't going to leave me or hurt me in all the ways that I've been hurt in the past. And speaking of that, I think that what's also been striking a lot of emotion in me lately is the fact that I look back on that time when Twilight was so popular and when I would watch the movies and hang out with my friends and look forward to the next release. That was all before I had experienced trauma with guys. It was before I made poor decisions, and it was before I let people walk all over me, and it was when the slate was kind of almost clean at the moment. Like, I had challenges back then, like, I still struggled with my relationship with my dad and stuff, but, like, looking back now, the problems I had back then were a cakewalk compared to the problems I walked through after that time. And, like, I think that's why I get so nostalgic and wish that I could go back because it was back when I didn't have that many worries, just worries about college and school and things like that, and when the next movie was gonna come out. That's all I worried about back then, and that's what I wish I could go back to. Like, sometimes being a kid is a lot easier than being an adult these days, and I don't know, I had some moments where I had to have a good cry about it. I know I sound pathetic, and I feel pathetic. I know I shouldn't. It's more pathetic to hold the emotions in than to let yourself feel what you feel. But I feel kind of pathetic for, crying over something that happened 14 years ago. This whole series, like the oldest movie is like 14 years old, and that baffles me that they're that old now. Like it just doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real at all. And like it seems like still that they just came out yesterday. That's why I say they're so timeless. And I'm in the middle of rereading the series and just trying to experience it all again for the first time. And because there's details that I missed. Because when you're younger, your comprehension skills aren't as strong as they are when you get older, I feel like, and that's really true for me, and I just feel like there's details that I'm picking up in the books that I didn't pick up before, and I'm really enjoying it. Because in a way, I kind of am experiencing it all for the first time and kind of reliving that time in my life without actually, reliving it, if that makes sense. But anyway, again, I apologize if this podcast is scatterbrained. I'm just kind of getting stuff out there just because I feel like I'll never feel better and I'll never truly like get through what I'm going through without sharing it with other people that might be struggling with the same thing but might be afraid to share it. And I don't know. And if you like these podcasts, you can go ahead and like the video, and I might do more of these. Honestly, I can't commit to like a consistent upload schedule only because, I have an adult life, I have a day job, and I have other responsibilities that I have to worry about. But I definitely don't mind doing more of these if that's something that you guys would be interested in. But anyway, I don't know. I was just feeling kind of nostalgic about everything and just I don't know. It's just been an interesting ride the past couple of weeks. I didn't expect myself to experience as much emotion that I as I did. Um, Sorry, I'm messing with my sound here, but anyway, I didn't expect to experience so much emotion that I did when I did those solo dates. Because not only did I watch the movies every day the week of Valentine's Day, I also built the Cullen house. I bought that Lego set. Speaking of which, I will probably post a video showing the building process of that. I'll either do a short or I'll probably do a quick video outlining the process it took to build and just kind of showing you guys a little bit of what went into building that. It was very fun to build. Um, and again, it just reminded me of like what I'm missing out on because I really kind of want to experience Washington. Like I've been to Portland, Oregon before, but I was really young, and this time I want to actually go to Forks and experience all the things that there is to experience that are related to Twilight. And I know that every September they do a festival for Bella's birthday. So I'm thinking that would also be a good time to go. And I think within a year I should have enough money saved up to try to go. And of course, I would probably vlog it and record things that I would be doing out there. And then, of course, I plan on going by myself, but if I happen to have somebody in my life that would wanna go with me, I would definitely take them, but I'm not gonna wait around and put my life on hold for that, and I'm starting to slowly but surely learn to not put my life on hold because, like I said, I don't wanna be 50 years old and be like, "Well, I never got to do this, or I never got to do that. I'm too old to do this now, or I'm too old to do that." Like, I just don't want that to be in the cards for me when I turn 50. And I don't know. I really don't know where else this podcast is going. I'm just kind of, like I said, putting my thoughts out there just in case other people might want to hear them. It's okay if they don't. It's just something I like to share. I like to create content, and this is the best way for me to do that. But anyway, yeah, and I didn't mean to make it all about Twilight, but it just that movie kinda centered around a lot of nostalgia for me because it goes beyond the movies. It's also, like I told you guys, a time in my life that I think about where I wasn't dealing with any trauma and I didn't really know what it was like to have a relationship, and had I had it if I had a chance to go back, I would definitely tell my younger self to wait as long as possible before dating anybody because there were a lot of mistakes that I made. Again, it's not all my fault either, but it's also not all my partner's fault that these relationships went south. I know what I can own in it, and I know that a lot of my decisions were very poor and very reckless and very foolish. But my life is an example of God being there for me and protecting me and keeping me safe because let's just be real here. I could be sitting here right now as a single mom with kids that I would have to explain why their dad's not in their life, why their dad doesn't want anything to do with them, or will own that they are their kid. And I also could be sitting here with diseases that I can't cure, and I could be unhealthy, and I'm not. I have a clean bill of health, and God protected me from that life that could have easily been there. And I've been delivered from evil things that were trying to attach themselves to me and keep me in a dark place. And, I think I honestly, that also reminds me, I can relate a lot to Bella, like in the series. I'm a lot like her. I'm clumsy like her. I'm very introverted like her. And I also think that I'm an ordinary person like she does in the books. And during New Moon, I really could relate to her because I've experienced that level of grief before, unfortunately. Not to the point that I was having nightmares and screaming my head off at night like she was, but I had the same kind of feelings before. I felt depressed. I've also felt hopeless and sad and tried to do things recklessly to get that rush back into my life like she has. So I definitely can relate deeply to New Moon a lot, and her pain and the season that she goes through. And honestly, in my opinion, I think the most beautiful movies out of the series based on how they were made and the color schemes and everything are, New Moon and both Breaking Dawn movies. I absolutely love all 3 of those. I think the color schemes are beautiful, breathtaking. New Moon has a lot of golds in it and browns, and it's just so pretty to me and breathtaking. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about it that I like so much. It's just I don't know, it's the whole storyline and it's the colors and it's seeing Jacob as a wolf for the first time, and the way that they did him, in animation was great. I thought it was the best depiction of him. It was far beyond what I remember imagining when I read the books before the movies even came out. Um, Anyway, it is getting pretty late at this moment as I'm recording this, so I'm gonna probably wrap it up here. It's gonna probably take me long enough to upload this. I'm up to 23 minutes of footage. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this. I might record more later. I need to get the right cable for my headphones. I may have to order a replacement because I don't really know where my cable is at the moment. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a good night. I hope you're doing well, and I will continue to pray for all of you, and if you pray, just continue to pray for me, especially as I navigate maybe possibly going somewhere by myself, further away from home. I do feel called and do feel led to do that, to experience that. And again, if there's somebody in my life at the time that I go, great. If not, part of me just wants to spread my wings and go because if I don't, then when? And I don't know, I just feel like I wanna go and go on a trip and experience it on my own terms. It's not that I don't love my parents, and I love the fact that they were willing to go with me and take me. It's just I wanna be able to do things on my own terms and things on my own, and I know that that sounds scary, and I know that that puts me in situations where it could be scary, but you have to have faith in those situations, and you have to trust God, and God will protect me and he'll keep me safe and put me in places that won't put me in harm, and I would never go anywhere at night or anything like that. It would always be during the day, and I don't know. I just really want to experience that, and um just I have a feeling that putting my life on hold is not the way to go when it comes to stuff like this. But anyway, there'll be more updates for me in the future. I just can't commit to a consistent schedule. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll be back with more content soon. Take care and God bless.